what appears to be like a window, and he falls into the book. And what does he see? He sees Riddle get questioned by Dumbledore. He sees Riddle and Hagrid together. He sees Hagrid with something kind of scary. And he puts two and two together on the basis of what Tom Riddle showed him, that Hagrid was responsible for the Chamber of Secrets opening. And he tells Ron. Very next page. Cornelius Fudge. Harry finds out, bottom of 253, that Riddle's diary is gone. Somebody's been in their room. And he hears another voice, 254. He's making his way out to the Quidditch field. And he hears, "Kill this time, let me rip tear." And he tells Hermione, and Hermione says, "I think I've just understood something." She runs to the library. Harry and Ron keep going to the Quidditch field. Match gets canceled, and they find out Hermione was attacked, along with another girl, a prefect. So Harry decides on page 259 they need to talk to Hagrid. Harry and Ron go down, and while they're down there talking to Hagrid, there's a knock on the door, so they throw the invisibility cloak over them, and Dumbledore enters in. And with Dumbledore is Cornelius Fudge, the Minister of Magic. And Dumbledore makes it clear to Fudge that Hagrid has nothing to do with this. And Fudge says, bottom of 261, "Look at it from my point of view. I'm under a lot of pressure. Got to be seen to be doing something. If it turned out it wasn't Hagrid, he'll be back and no more said. But I've got to take him. Got to." Okay, notice that. Got to be seen doing something. In other words, even if I'm not doing anything, I still have to have the appearances that I'm doing something. And so he's going to take Hagrid to Azkaban. And then there's another knock on the door. This time Lucius Malfoy shows up. And Lucius has an order of suspension removing Dumbledore as headmaster of Hogwarts. And after some discussion and Hagrid going off, kind of half-cocked, we hear at the bottom of 263, Dumbledore says, "You will find that I will only truly have left this school when none here are loyal to me. You will also find that help will always be given at Hogwarts to those who ask for it." Malfoy's kind of like, okay. And then Hagrid adds, "And if anyone wanted to find out some stuff, all they'd have to do would be to follow the spiders. That'd lead them all right. That's all I'm saying." So, chapter 15, Harry and Ron follow the spiders. They lead them to Aragog. And Aragog tells them that he was not the monster that came from the Chamber of Secrets. He says, "Hagrid raised me from an egg." But he says, "I know what is in the Chamber of Secrets." Page 278. He says, "It is an ancient creature we spiders fear above all others. Well do I remember how I pleaded with Hagrid to let me go when I sensed the beast moving about the school." Harry asks what it is. We do not speak of it. We do not name it. I never even told Hagrid the name of that dread creature." Okay. So Harry and Ron, excuse themselves and say, "We'll be going now," but Aragog says, "No, your dinner for my family." The Ford Anglia comes and rescues them, and we hear on 281, Harry says, Hagrid never opened the Chamber of Secrets. He was innocent. Well, if you remember, very first book, when Harry meets Hagrid, Hagrid tells him he was expelled from Hogwarts in his 3rd year. Okay. Now work with me. Let's assume Hagrid went to Hogwarts when he was 11. So in his 3rd year, he would have been 13. How many years ago was Hagrid expelled? How many years ago was the Chamber of Secrets last opened? 50 years. Okay? So Hagrid is now 63. What year was Tom Riddle when the Chamber of Secrets was opened? He was a 5th year, so he would have been 15. So Tom Riddle, in this book, is now 65. Okay? Just gives you a little bit of age perspective, because Harry's parents, Harry is 12 now, and if we assume, and I think it's fairly safe to assume, that his parents had him when they were only 19 or 20, because they had not left Hogwarts for very long. His parents would only be about 32 at most. Okay. Page 282. Harry wakes up Ron, and he thinks, Ron, that girl who died, Aragog said she was found in a bathroom. What if she never left the bathroom? What if she's still there? You don't think? Not Moaning Myrtle, says Ron. So we get the chapter, The Chamber of Secrets. We find out someone else has been captured. We hear who it is. Harry and Ron go off to find somebody. They get caught by McGonagall, who lets them go up and see Hermione. In Hermione's hand, they find a couple of things. They find a mirror, and they find a piece of paper from a book torn out of the library. And the piece of paper tells them about the basilisk. And then on the paper has been written in Hermione's handwriting the word pipes. Harry now understands the creature coming out of the Chamber of Secrets is a basilisk. It's moving around through the castle, through the pipes, through the plumbing. It comes out through Moaning Myrtle's bathroom. Okay? They find out that Ginny's been captured and taken into the Chamber of Secrets. And page 293, Gilderoy Lockhart shows up, and all the professors chime in and say, Gilderoy, the very man you've been saying you knew where the chamber was, who the monster was, go get him. We're going to leave you on to it. And so he kind of says, okay. And he leaves. Harry and Ron kind of follow him to his office, and they see him packing up. And on page 297, Lockhart admits he never did all the things that he said he did, but he tells them there's one thing he can do very well, and it's a memory charm. So he takes the memories of other people. He takes their credit, applies it to himself, and he obliviates their memories so that they have no recollection of having done anything powerful. So they go to Moaning Myrtle's bathroom. Harry speaks in Parseltongue. The pipe opens and they go down in. Okay. Lockhart uses Ron's wand, tries to alter their memories. It backfires, wipes his memory clean. Harry goes to the big stone snake thing, says open, and he goes in, and he meets Tom Riddle, and he sees Ginny on the floor. Harry realizes he's missing his wand, and Tom Riddle is holding it, pages 308. Tom Riddle talks about having written back and forth with Ginny and how tiring it was, how he tricked Dippet into thinking it was Hagrid. On page 313, they start talking about themselves. And Harry says, why do you care how I escaped? Voldemort was after your time. And Tom Riddle says, Voldemort is my past, present, and future, Harry Potter. And he pulls out Harry's wand and he writes in the air, Tom Marvolo Riddle. And then he waves the wand and the letters rearrange to, I am Lord Voldemort. And so they talk. We're going to skip a lot. Riddle says he's the greatest sorcerer in the world. Harry says, you're not, old boy. That's Albus Dumbledore. Even at the height of your power, you were afraid of Dumbledore. And as soon as he says that, Fawkes shows up. And Fawkes shows up, and he's carrying the old sorting hat. And he says, these are the two things. Riddle says, these are the two things Dumbledore sends his defender, a songbird and an old hat. Ooh, do you feel brave, Harry Potter? And then Harry, thinking, if I can keep him talking, I'll be able to stay alive. And Harry says, no one knows why you lost your powers when you attacked me, page 316. I don't know myself, but I know why you couldn't kill me, because my mother died to save me. My common, muggle-born mother. She stopped you killing me, and I've seen the real you. I saw you last year. You're a wreck. You're barely alive. So, your mother died to save you. Yes, that's a powerful counter charm. I can see now. Now notice that. The shadow, or the 16-year-old memory, 16-year-old memory of Tom Riddle understands that. But Tom Riddle, at the height of his powers, when he was 54 years old, didn't think that if she tries to protect Harry, that's going to be a powerful counter charm, that a sacrifice would be powerful. Just kind of odd. And so Riddle says, there are some interesting similarities between us. We're both half-bloods, but Harry isn't a half-blood. Riddle is. Riddle's father is human. He is non-magical. His mother was a witch. Harry's father was a wizard. Harry's mother was a witch. Orphans raised by muggles, Parselmouths. We even look a little bit alike. Right? And so he calls forth the basilisk. And Fawkes works at blinding the basilisk. And Harry kills the basilisk with the sword that Fawkes, that came out of the hat. When Harry, remember the scene, Harry puts the hat on, page 319, and he thinks to himself, help me, please, help me. No answering voice, but suddenly the sword of Godric Gryffindor drops onto his head. But when he stabs the basilisk's fang breaks off into his arm, and Harry realizes he's dying. And page 321, Harry thinks. Let me back up just a minute. Riddle says, so ends the famous Harry Potter, alone in the Chamber of Secrets, forsaken by his friends, defeated at last by the Dark Lord he so unwisely challenged. You'll be back with your dear mudblood mother soon, Harry. That's kind of interesting. Kind of talking about the reuniting of souls. She bought you 12 years of borrowed time. 12 years. That's interesting also. And I think it is Isaiah or one of the books of Kings in the Old Testament. King Hezekiah is granted 12 additional years by God to live. And Harry thinks, if this is dying, thought Harry, it's not so bad. That is, if this is dying, okay, even the pain was leaving him. But then he thinks, was this dying? Notice, from the beginning, because we actually have that in the first book where it's brought up. Dumbledore says, not the stone boy, you. I thought I was too late for you. We have an emphasis on dying from the very first book. I mean, here he is, after all, first chapter. The boy who lived, not the boy who died. Okay? So all 7 books are going to have this theme of dying running through them. And we're going to hear and see people die. Hold on just one second. But we find out Harry's not dying because Fawkes is crying on Harry's arm, and Dumbledore told us Phoenix's tears are healing tears. And Harry, we're told, page 322, without thinking, after Fawkes drops the diary into Harry's lap, Harry pulls the basilisk fang out of his arm, or pulls it up off the ground, and stabs it into the middle of the diary and kills the memory of